Hi, everybody. My name is Vince DiPasquale. I'm the director of a program over in South Jersey called The Starting Point. What I'd like to do today is something just a little bit different. I want to talk about something I did in my book on relationships. In the second chapter, I really emphasize something which is really important. And that is that the ultimate relationship that you have in your life is the one you have with yourself. What I've learned over the years is that so many times we have a tendency to migrate towards unhealthy relationships, primarily because we attract into our life what's going on inside of us. And so if we're unhealthy on the inside, then we'll attract unhealthy people into our life. So what I want to do today is something real simple. I want to do three things. I want to show you what a healthy person is. I'm going to describe a healthy person. And then I'll show you what an unhealthy person is. Then I'll give you a little diagram on how we get somebody from being unhealthy to becoming healthy. Okay? Sounds simple, doesn't it? Here we go. What I want to do to kind of bring this out is use an analogy. I want you to visualize taking a stone and dropping it into a pool of water. When the stone hits the water, it forms ringlets off the stone. The first one is usually stronger, and then they go out. And as they get out, they get bigger, but they get weaker and weaker and weaker until eventually they dry out. We'll start with the core in the center. The core is the stone. Now, a healthy person normally has 4 different qualities. I consider these the most important qualities of life. If you're healthy, you have something called inner peace or serenity, which means that you're at peace with yourself on the inside. You're comfortable being who you are. You have a sense of inner peace. If you're healthy, you also have deep down inside what I refer to as an open mind, which means you have this energy inside of you that you're open to learn, you're open to grow, you're open to all new things in the course of your direction in life. So you have this constant process of always wanting to discover new things and experience new things in life. If you're healthy, you also have something called spirit. And your spirit is your uniqueness, it's your specialness. It's the energy that makes you the unique individual that you are. It's your personality, it's all your traits, all your characteristics. It's basically you're in touch with a real sense of your own person, and you're comfortable. And finally, if you're healthy, you have something called intimacy or trust, which means that you have this tremendous need deep down inside to be able to share the gift of yourself. And so you truly believe in the gift of intimacy or connecting to other human beings, because I truly believe that no one can function totally on their own. We have a need to be connected to other human beings and other people. All of our learning comes from our interconnection to others. Now, if you have those qualities and you're healthy, then normally in the first circle around you, you have people in your life referred to as significant others, very special people. Now, this is normally either 2, 3, or maybe 4 people. You can't just have one. I'm sorry. You burn the sucker out, you kill him. And so literally, you need to have 2, 3, or maybe 4 people that you feel totally comfortable with. The key is you feel safe with them. See, to me, safety is the key to everything in life. You really can't have a sense of love until you have a sense of safety first. I mean, how can you say you love someone and you're scared to death to be around them? Doesn't make any sense. So the concept is, I need to have people in my life I feel safe with, I feel comfortable with. There's a trust level, there's a bonding level to that. If I'm healthy, in the next circle, a little wider, I have people called friends. Now, if you're healthy, you normally have many different circles of friends, which as you grow, or they change. For example, remember back in the 8th grade, you had a circle of friends, and you may have even had a very special friend. You said to that person, we're going to be friends forever and ever and ever and ever. You don't even know where they are now, but it's not important. At that stage of your life, that was your family, your support system. And as you grow, you build new support systems for yourself. And they're ever changing, even in the recovery world. When you first come into recovery, You have a support system, but then as you grow in recovery, that support system changes also. The big point I'm trying to bring out is, if you're really healthy, change is part of life. There's always adjustments being made, new discoveries happening, and people change on the course of your journey. Some stay longer, and some don't, but that's okay. But even in a normal everyday, you've got different circles of friends. For example, I have the community that I live in. I'm very friends with them, I'm close to a lot of them, but I really don't discuss my recovery with them, because literally they're people I know I'm connected to. That's one circle of friends. I have my recovery circle of friends. I have people I'm connected to in my family, another circle of friends. But what I'm learning though in recovery is the importance, if I'm healthy, that I have boundaries. So I'm not walking around self-disclosing all day long. For example, I walk down the street, my neighbor says, "Hi, how are you?" I do a fifth step with the guy. I scare him half to death. You wonder why there's a for sale sign of his house the next day. I just scared him. We have to learn boundaries, where people are in our journey. And if I'm healthy, I'm able to set boundaries. The next circle is a circle of people. I have a nickname for them. I call them time people, or we can call them messengers. If I have an open mind, if I'm healthy, then I'm always open to listen to the messengers. I truly believe that God sends messengers into our life every day. Every person we meet, circumstances, situations, they're all messengers. God sends them into our life to teach us things about ourselves. And so literally, messengers are always there. Now, if you're healthy, you have this wonderful open mind, you look at the messengers, you learn from them, and you grow from them. That's the key to everything in life. But they're time people, which means they're not going to stay. They're going to come and they're going to go. It's all part of the journey. The next circle, I'm getting real nice and big now, we call these people acquaintances. Now, you probably have hundreds of acquaintances. People you say hello to, you say goodbye to. You may even know them, you work with them. You don't really know them, though. You know them for what we call as small talk. How's the weather? Having a nice day? Hope everything's all right. We don't get into a lot of intimate stuff with them. They're just acquaintances. And finally, my favorite circle, the big one on the end. You know, it took me 42 years to figure out I have this circle in my life. I have a nickname for them. I call them enemies, unhealthy people. See, if you're healthy, you know where people are on your journey. And so you realize the fact that there are people that are unhealthy. So therefore, what do? You set your boundaries accordingly. Now, if you look at those circles, realize something. Your family is not necessarily your significant other. They could be anywhere in that circle. I use the example of my own family, my wonderful Italian family. I love them. But, you know, I don't talk too much about recovery with my family, especially my past family. My aunts were alive. I refer to my aunts as the 5 generals. So literally, what do? I visit them, have a good time with them. I love them. But again, what do we do when we're together? We have small talk. We talk about their bunions, how many operations they had. We talk about the old neighborhoods from years ago. It's called small talk. We have a nice time, we have a cup of coffee, spend time together. We hug each other. That's how it's supposed to be. But again, there's a time and a place for everything. Now, let's talk about what it is to be unhealthy, okay? If you're unhealthy, then, you know, that center, those 4 things, they don't exist. You got an empty hole inside. As a result then, because there's no sense of serenity, there's turmoil in your life. You're not open, you're closed to everything. Everything's black and white to you all the time. So there's always fear and guilt and anxiety connected to you. You don't really have a good spirit. Your spirit's more on the negative side. And literally, you don't trust. So as a result then, you don't really have any significant others, nor you have friends, but they're not really friends because you kind of walk on eggs around them. You don't trust them all the time. You have time people, but you don't listen to them. You have plenty of acquaintances, tons of enemies, but you mix everything up. You don't know where people are in your circle, so your life's in turmoil, it's in confusion all the time. The bottom line is you have something we refer to as the spiritual void, which means there's an empty hole inside of me. Because I don't really have a me. What do? I fill it in with all kinds of stuff on the outside. Now we have to ask ourselves a very simple question. I call it the ultimate question of life. And the question is very simple. Who are you? Who am I? You know, when I taught high school years ago, and I used to have seniors, and I taught a course called Human Sexuality. And I would go into the course the first day and I would say to them, there'd be no exams for the whole entire year. Everybody would clap and get excited. I said, just a minute. I want you to write a paper entitled, Who Are You? I don't want to know what you look like. Who are you as a person? Somewhere around January, they begged me to give them tests. See, that's not a question you can just sit down and write about. It is the ultimate question of life, and it's an ongoing process of learning about yourself. So watch what happens. If I have this empty void, then basically, how do I fill it? Well, one of the ways we fill it is by learning some real simple, some real basic principles. What is our most basic need that we have? Every one of us has a need for a family. Growth only takes place in the family system. We have this tremendous need to be connected to some sort of family. You know what I find so interesting in our 12-step program, the early founders understood this, and that's why they talked about what they referred to then as fellowship, people coming together to share with each other, to connect with each other. I call it the human element. And all of our growth takes place from our interaction from one another. So we need to belong somewhere to be connected. You see, I have a need, and I shared this earlier, we have a need to feel safe, to be around people I feel safe with, people that will accept me and love me unconditionally, to be around people where I belong, where I'm accepted, and basically people I can identify with, be around people I can socialize, I can play, I can have fun, I can enjoy life with. I need those people in my life. So I'm in a constant search for family, a place to belong, a place to be connected. Now watch what happens. Because I don't really have that, I'm empty on the inside. I really have a tremendous need to move from the emptiness and to begin the journey of connecting with other people and realizing the fact that I can't walk the journey alone, so I need people to be connected to. And so I've got to go on the journey of self-discovery, the journey of learning. Now watch how this works. In our 12-step philosophy, just to give you an idea, I mean, in all the 12-step programs, for example, in AA and NA, they tell people to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. In OA, they tell you 120 meetings. They tell you all kinds of things in all kinds of programs. What do? They're trying to oversaturate you and fill that void with something and connect you to other people. Hopefully some of it will stick. And what I have found over and over again, that when I'm really able to connect with other human beings, all my learning actually comes from them. So I refer to it in a different way. I call it joining the human library. I truly believe that every human being on the face of the earth is a book in process of being written. And every day when you wake up, you do a new chapter in your book. And if we get together with one another and share our history and share our stories and share them on an honest and open level, then all of a sudden, what am I doing? I'm learning from the people around me. I can get knowledge from books. That's intellectual knowledge. But what I refer to as heart knowledge comes from my interaction with other human beings. And I'll be honest with you, I've learned more about life from people than I learned from all the books I've read in the course of my journey in life. And I truly believe that. Because I truly believe that God sends all these wonderful people into your life to be your teacher. And if you have this and you really take your time to try to the best of your ability to start to develop those 4 corners, as I call them, slowly but surely to start being around people I begin to feel a sense of serenity with, a sense of calmness with. all of a sudden it's a new feeling inside of me. It's scary at first, and I'm going to tell you, the scariest thing in the world is change. Change is the scariest thing in the world. Because we don't realize how we've been in so many patterns for such a long period of time. To actually make a change is scary because not only does it scare you, but it scares people around you. They've been used to you being a certain way for a long period of time. I'll give you an example. My uncle, God rest his soul, when he was alive though, he died when he was in his 90s. But my uncle, when I used to go visit him after I got into recovery and after my body has changed and everything, I would go visit him and he would look at me and he'd say, "What's wrong with you? You used to look good." See, I used to look good when I was over 300 pounds. He said, "You look terrible. You're dying of cancer. What's wrong with you? Doesn't your wife feed you?" But see, he's been so used to me being a certain way that when he began to experience somebody different, it's scary for people. Even when I left the priesthood, I went through this. You know, a lot of my family didn't know what to do with me. They were used to me being in a certain role. A lot of people were used to me being in a certain role. What I've learned though, and believe me, it's not easy. What I've learned is the more I connect with people and open myself up to change, open myself up to growth, all of a sudden, I begin to see the world through a different set of eyes. And all of a sudden, I have to begin to learn those things we talked about earlier, how to set boundaries, how to be able to back off and let the journey of life happen. The biggest thing of all I've got to learn, slowly but surely, you learn that from other human beings. You learn how to let go of control. You learn to realize the fact that you're not in charge. I always joke about this. My father used to say this to me all the time. You know, God rest his soul. Here's a man with a second grade education that probably taught me more any person ever taught me in my life. He used to say to me all the time, I used to love it. He used to say, bien. Take it easy. Slow down. Relax. Enjoy life. Where you going? Rome wasn't built in a day. Hey, relax. Then he used to say, "Hey, Ion, come here. Don't you understand something?" He put his hands between my head. "Don't you understand something? You don't know what it is to get up until you fall down. Don't be afraid to fall down. Then you will learn how to get up." Here's philosopher, great philosopher. Unbelievable. But he said the beautiful thing to me one time, he says, "You know what?" He says, "When you think you know everything, just remember," he said, "the only thing you're in charge of is the buckhouse." Now in Italian, the buckhouse is the outhouse. He used to say, "Go sit in the outhouse, and remember that thing you're sitting on is where all the crap goes. Don't be afraid to get rid of your crap, because that crap will be your teacher." Here's a man with a second grade education telling me all this stuff. And maybe God sent him into my life to teach me so many things about life. And I've said this so many times, some of my greatest teachers were street people and ex-cons. People that really hurt, went through a lot of pain, a lot of struggle. I've learned a lot from them. But it's the simple things of life, not the complicated things of life. And so what I'm learning is, slowly but surely, I have to fill that void. I have to begin to put stuff into that void. But the secret to it is slowly and gradually to learn how to be open to change and open to grow. And so I kind of put it in the following way. There are no absolutes. Isn't that wonderful? Nothing is absolute. Everything is in process. We're always in process. We're always learning. We're always growing. We're always changing. Nothing ever stays the same. That's how life is supposed to be, by the way. So if you become static, it means you're dead. There has to be this energy of flow inside of you. But slowly but surely, as I begin to connect, I can begin to put into my life what I call the 4 elements. See, take a second and just kind of divide yourself up, okay? We have 4 elements inside of us. We're physical creatures, emotional creatures, spiritual creatures, and social creatures. If I learn how to socialize and interact with people, from those people in time, and by the way, in God's time, not in your time, you can't make this happen, it happens automatically. Some of them will migrate into your life and move to a different level of relationship with you. They'll become more of your spiritual connections. I call them soulmates, people I feel more comfortable with. Then with those people, I can begin to share my emotions and my feelings. I can begin to open up. And with those people, then, I can also connect on a physical level. Because then, I'm not afraid of hugs. I'm not afraid to be close to people. I'm not afraid to be with individuals in my life. And so you'll learn about relationships. Because to me, relationships are the gifts of life. They're the center of everything we do in life. And so literally, if I continue the journey of interconnecting with other human beings, I will learn so much about myself as a person. Because I really believe, if you take a minute, look at another human being, and you'll see in that person a teacher from God. The Woman's Meditation book, and I love it, Each Day a New Beginning, says this 4 times in the book. It says, every day of your life, you are both a teacher and a pupil. Every day of your life. Every day you're teaching by the way you live, and you're learning by being open to people around you. For example, God didn't bring us together today, but He did for a purpose. We are to connect to one another and be part of one another. We're in this room today because we're supposed to be here. I've often said that's another great spiritual 2 words, supposed to. Why are you who you are? Because you're supposed to be who you are. Why are you where you are? Because you're supposed to be there. Supposed to, supposed to, supposed to, supposed to. You know, so literally you learn after a while to look at life through a different set of eyes and begin to grow. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, as you begin to change, you begin to grow, people around you are going to react. You may even scare them a little bit. But what you're really doing is getting them to take a look at their stuff and be in touch with their stuff. And that's a scary concept. So it goes back to that same principle I started out with. The ultimate relationship that you have in your life is the one you have with yourself. And by the way, I hate to tell you this, it's the only relationship that you can have in your life. It's the one you have with you. Everybody else that comes into your life simply comes in to be your teacher. And every relationship is only for one day. They come into your life. You don't know about tomorrow. So you celebrate the moment of today. And you keep it that simple. And that's what we refer to as the spiritual connection. So as I'm growing as a person, I begin to realize I want to be connected to other human beings. And the more I'm connected, the more I learn from people around me. Isn't it great to have people in your life and realize the fact they're part of the journey? There's a time to be away from people too, to discern and sort things out, but then a time to come back. Go and come, learn, grow, discover. So to me, if you work on that ultimate relationship, then I guarantee you something. You will attract into your life exactly who you're supposed to share your life with. Everything's done by attraction. So if I work on me and I'm healthy, then I'll attract healthy people into my life. If I don't work on me, I'll attract people in my life who aren't working on themselves. Real simple and real basic. So it starts from the inside out, not from the outside in. And that's the mistake some people make in relationships. They look for the outside, not for the inside. I mean, just to give you a quick example before we finish today. We have terms, well-loved terms. Falling in love. We normally fall in love on the average of about 6 times a week. We meet somebody, become attracted, and then they leave, you become unattracted. It's called normal. It's called attraction, that's all. Then we have a thing called romantic love. Don't get me wrong, it's great, it's wonderful. But you can't be in romantic love 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. You'll never make it to work. I love when they say to me, we're going to live on our love. I say, yeah, when the mortgage man comes, it doesn't work. What can I tell you? And then finally, what we refer to as spiritual love. That's the interconnection of 2 human beings together, or 3 human beings, or 5 or 10. It's that bonding process that people experience and learn from each other and grow. That's why God sends people into our life. We never know how it's going to happen. Happens in some of the strangest ways and the strangest places. You know what I've learned though? Faith and trust. Get out of the way and everything always goes exactly where it's supposed to go. And God sends people into our life at the time we're supposed to meet them. Simple and plain. So we keep that simple. And so I just wanted to share with you today the importance of developing a healthy relationship with yourself as a person. Take the time to enjoy yourself, to enjoy who you are. And slowly but surely, one day at a time, you begin to answer that question. Who am I? I'm God's creation. I'm a person. And I count. I'm important. This is my journey on this earth. So thanks for coming out today. Hope that it helped. And I hope that it helps you to go on the journey of yourself in the course of the journey of your own life. Thank you and God bless.